everyone. It's your girl, Erin Sade, back for another episode of Black Girls Theology Talk Show live right here on Awesome God Radio. I'm so excited to have you all with us today. We're going to have so much fun giving practical tips, tools, and ways that we can continue to care for ourselves through the pandemic, police brutality, and Pentecost. I believe that it is still Pentecost. Stuff is still happening, okay? And you cannot convince me otherwise. We are going to start out with none other than the awesome, the wonderful, the blessed Reverend Shanay Scott.
Yes.
How are you?
Y'all.
How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here. I never heard somebody say it's still Pentecost, but you know what? I need it to still be Pentecost. Yes, I need the Lord to still be moving. So I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, guys.
Of course, I'm happy to have you. So, Reverend Scott will be facilitating our mindful moment for today. What do you have for us?
So, I work with Black women in helping them to approach the counseling space because it's so important that Black women would know that counseling, therapy, being present with themselves is not only for other women, but that Black and brown women, we also have a space in the counseling space. So I started a business called Sincere Sessions that we believe in counseling for Black and brown women. We don't only target Black and brown women, but we have a specialty in that, and also people who feel counseling adverse. And so one of the methods that I use often with my women, I'm currently counseling 10 women, and I'm so excited. Most of them have either only had counseling as a child or had never had counseling before. And really, it's the strong woman thing that they got to 30, 40, and some of them even 50 years old, and they just didn't feel worthy enough to be in a space where they talked about them. You will be surprised in the first counseling session how many women will be like, "So how was your day?" And I'm like, "Oh no, we're not here to talk about me." but we're so used to helping and serving and being present for everybody else that in a space, even just for an hour, to talk about themselves and talk about how the Lord is working with them or talk about what's going on in their emotional health, it feels so uncomfortable to people.
Yeah.
So one method that I give to almost all the women that I work with is affirmations. And I think there's just so much power in looking at yourself and saying to yourself out loud who you want to become, and saying to yourself out loud who the Lord calls you. And so we're going to practice some of that right now. And it's a little bit awkward at first if you've never practiced affirmations, but I'm your sister girl that's walking you through it, because I do believe that spiritually there's some places that we can't go if we're still emotionally bound. And so we can get started. So the way we're gonna do these affirmations is we're gonna breathe in something and we're gonna breathe out something else.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. Breathe in, I am healed. Breathe out, I am light. And so we'll do that for a couple stanzas, and you guys let me know how you feel after that. Okay.
Okay, and also we can, if you all who are watching, please make sure if you're sharing the video, when you share the video, just share it. Do not create a watch party, because a watch party, we cannot see the comments, and we want you all to be able to be as interactive as possible. And we could talk to, for this moment, Reverend Scott, about how we're feeling after this mindful moment.
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna practice stillness for 1 minute. I'm gonna set a timer. You'll be surprised how just taking a minute in your day to be still will help to reset your mind, and then we'll start in our affirmation. So let's be still. Okay. So, breathe in. I am healed.
I am healed.
Breathe out. I am deeply loved. I am deeply loved.
I am deeply loved.
Breathe in. I am light. Breathe in. I am whole.
I am whole.
Breathe in. I am sure. Breathe out. I am confident. Breathe in. I am whole.
I am whole.
Breathe out. I am confident. Breathe in. I am chosen. Breathe out. I am more than my accomplishments.
I am more than my accomplishments.
Breathe in. I am light. Breathe out. I am worthy of love.
I am
Breathe in. I deserve rest.
deserve rest.
Breathe out. It is okay to have weaknesses. Breathe in. I am intelligent. Breathe out. I am still learning. Breathe in. I am capable. Breathe out. I am worthy. Breathe in. I am not alone. Breathe out. I value relationships. Breathe in. I am more than my trauma. Breathe out. I can manage my triggers well. Breathe in. I am light. Breathe out. I am loved. Breathe in. I am whole. Breathe out. I am the daughter of a king. Amen.
Amen.
So, for every one of my clients, I personalize affirmations based on where I feel they are in their life. Some people need affirmations around self-esteem. Some people need affirmations around rest. Some people need affirmations around childhood trauma. But the work of affirming yourself daily helps with a couple of things that you would not need the affirmation of others so often, and it also helps you to be present with yourself. Um, I think sometimes we walk around life looking for people to affirm us, to affirm our work, to affirm that we're good enough. But the art of affirming yourself will let you to be stronger with your voice. And so the counseling space has been personally really healing for me. And I love to see women, especially Black women, become alive when they know that they are worthy of telling their stories. So thank you guys for having me today.
Of course. Thank you for joining us. To keep up with Reverend Shanay Scott, you could visit her on www.sinceresessions.com or follow her on Instagram at Sincere Sessions. And she will be back to join us again on Black Girls Theology Talk Show.
I will, guys. Make sure you rest. Make sure you meditate. Make sure you affirm yourself. Love you guys.
Love ya.
Bye.
All right. That was good. Thank you again, Reverend Scott. Now it is time for our interview with none other than Dr. Lakisha R. Lockhart. I'm so excited to have her with us today, and I have the whole bio for her, but I'd rather just bring her up and we start chit-chatting, and I hope she's okay with that.
I'm always okay with that. Hey, what's happening?
How are you?
I'm good. It's been a good full day, so I'm good. How about you?
I am doing well. I got my car back. It's been in the shop.
Wait, what happened? You
It's
said
been
it's
in the shop.
your car?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm gonna need it to get fixed.
Yeah, I got it back today, and I'm so excited about it. I don't even go anywhere. I don't drive anywhere, but just having my car.
But it's the ability to be able to go. Exactly.
So that happened. So good day.
Wonderful.
So I'm so excited to chit chat with you today about all the good things and staying sane.
Oh, goodness.
And different acts of resistance in our current climate.
Oh my goodness, yes. So many things. My goodness. Where do you want to start? Oh goodness.
Let's start. Well, today is going to be a pretty lighthearted and fun show because we're going to talk about body movement and play and taking up all the spaces. And how we can use all of those things to not only care for ourselves, but also to resist what is going on, right? So I want to be out on the front lines, but maybe that's not the smartest thing for me in whatever, filling your blank here, right? Exactly. So what can we do to resist in the current climate?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a really important question because again, and some people are called to be out on the front line, and that's a wonderful, beautiful thing. And if that is you, make sure you're prepared. Right. You need to know that I think, if you get maced, milk is better than water. Make sure you have extra money set aside for bail. Make sure you've already got in touch with somebody so that they know, if I don't contact you by, 12 o'clock, go come looking for me. Just make sure you're covering all your bases. If you are out there, make sure you have a buddy. Make sure you're tending to those things. Wear your mask because COVID-19 is still real out in these streets. So make sure you have want you to be safe, right? But for those that aren't called to be out on the front lines, we just need to remember the places where we are, right? So I also know I'm an educator, so I know I'm also called to be teaching, to be having these conversations with my students, to be talking about it in classrooms, to be writing about it, right? To be talking about it on different platforms that I can. Maybe your way of resisting is saying, I'm not gonna let them steal my joy. I'm gonna choose to play, right? One of my acts of resistance has been to not read the news when I get up in the morning, but to play with my son, who is wonderful and amazing and gives me so much joy, right? And so that's for me an act of resistance is I refuse to turn on all of that and bring it all in until I've had some joy in my life for the day. And I just think it's remembering those little acts, those acts of, I'm going to get up and care for my body. I'm going to get up and take a walk. I'm going to go and, make sure I'm eating, what is going to nourish me, or, whatever that may be, or, I'm not going to watch, the news all day. I might just watch it tomorrow, or maybe I'll just do a podcast. It's just figuring out how are the other ways that you can resist. You can write letters to, our political officials. You can, like I said, teach, you can write, you can do talk show, you can, let your stuff be heard. You can, frequent Black owned businesses. Juneteenth is, tomorrow. So if you haven't already, go ahead and frequent a Black owned business. If you are in the Richmond area, Brewers is amazing. I'm just going to, I'm going to get Brewers myself. Just, there's so many ways. You just have to figure out where you're calling, what you're able to do in this moment, especially if you are not a person of color. Guess what? Do not make it people of color's job to talk to your friends. Okay, your non-Black friends. It is your job to do that. It is your job to talk to them. It is not your job to take any more energy, any more intellectual capacity from those who are already feeling vulnerable and already feeling marginalized. That's your work to do, especially if you know things. We can all research, we can all read, we can all see the things that are going on in the world. So that doesn't mean you need to call and ask your Black friend, hey, what's happening? No, you know what's happening. Go read, go research, talk to your other non-Black friends, and make sure y'all are all getting it together and how you can actually become an ally and actually work for justice and do other things that can help the movement as well. So I think there's just a lot of ways. You just have to figure out what those ways look like for you, what they look like in this time, in this day, while also protecting, because we also want to be alive for tomorrow, and that's another reality. So realizing what that means and what that entails. Yeah. Do some lamenting rituals, because we are losing people, we are losing lives. There's a lot.
Yeah, a whole lot. There's a lot to take in. And also, I like to think that when we play as an act of resistance, it also brings us happiness, right? So not only am I resisting, right, everything that's going on, I'm being current, I'm being active, I'm being here, present, but I'm also giving myself joy.
You are. And I will say the beautiful thing, one of the beautiful things I really love about play is that it's all encompassing, right? So yeah, it can bring joy. It can also be like kind of a lamentful play. And maybe that's what you need. Maybe you're angry and you can have an angry play. Like it's this beautiful thing that doesn't have to be one thing or another, but it allows you kind of to be what you are and to bring up what you're feeling. It reminds me of the Inside Out movie, right? You have to have all of your feelings to be able to be balanced. Yeah. And so it's that space of, hey, play allows for that. You can have a playful kind of lament. You can have a playful that brings you joy, especially right now. I feel like when joy is kind of being sucked away almost daily, it's really been important for me to find those playful moments, to have a more playful attitude just throughout the day for my own sanity, right? Just when you're moving, your brain synapses are moving differently, creating new pathways, right? So you have your endorphins, your dopamine, your serotonin levels are going up. So that means you're boosting your mood, you're helping relieve your stress. Exactly. It's just that feeling right there. Just that. If you're watching, do that just for a minute. Just feels good. Just already. Just do that for just a little bit. Yeah. Just you're already taking on so much. And I guess with so much of trauma and just everything happening in the world, we just take it on. And the thing is, we're not just taking it internally, we're also taking it on physically in our bodies. And we have to find some way to release that, right? Or some way to at least take in that. And if you're not taking an inventory, your body's going to start feeling real worn down. And you aren't going to, one day you're just going to wake up and be like, I can't get up. It's a lot. So what does it mean to just take inventory and give your body what you need? I mean, maybe there are those days where you just need to stay in bed one day, right? Maybe there are those days where, I don't want to be at that one more meeting with non-people of color who want me to act professional and smile and be happy. I'm just going to turn my screen off today on Zoom. Yeah. They're just going to get my beautiful picture and they'll be fine. There's also an act of resistance. So many ways. Yeah, so many ways.
So, I did not even notice, right, that this segment was our Live Out Loud segment, giving Black women the permission to be unapologetically themselves. And that's literally what we're talking about.
Yes.
So how can we then use that as an act to bridge the gap between church and academy, right? Just being who we are.
Exactly. Well, I think so often, and I don't know, this might not be everyone's experience, but I know there are experiences for some where the church has kind of squelched that, where you show up with all of who you are, all of this beautiful body, the curves and all of that, or I show up with all of my playfulness. And it's kind of like, no, deny the flesh. No, no, just stop tempting the men, or, whatever, you name it, respectability politics.
Yeah.
Just all of those things. And for me, I feel like play brings us back to a place of humanity. I feel like it reminds us that we are all humans who are created to be creative and to play. I mean, even when we're thinking about the divine, even just creation itself. I mean, to create an entire world, to create a clownfish, to create, a jellyfish. I mean, just how creative did you have to be, right? I mean, if you happen to be Christian and you think about Jesus, the parables. Jesus was hilarious in those parables, going fishing all the time. He saw they didn't catch any fish. You didn't catch any fish? Really? You saw we didn't catch any fish. You need to. Jesus was hilarious. Came to collect taxes. Jesus put the money in the mouth of a fish. Jesus was hilarious to me.
The money in the fish's mouth.
Here for your taxes. Go get them. Right? I just think it's this really beautiful way of saying that we're created to be creative. And sometimes churches try to squelch that, especially with young people, right? Because they don't want to listen to the ideas, or this is the way we've always done it. And the thing is that if you want to keep doing things the way they've always been done, then nothing's going to change. And you're going to wonder why no one's coming, or things aren't happening in your pews, why you don't have, I guess a lot of people are searching for millennials, the next generation. But I think it's about how you become adaptable and flexible. And that starts with being able to welcome people as they are, right? Realizing that we're all coming from different walks of life. And if you are asking me to show up without my play, without that, you're asking me to leave a part of me away. And last time I checked, I was created in the image of the divine, all of me, not a part of me, not a piece of me, not my toe, not my head, not my curls, but all of me, which means you're going to get all of this if you want me to come in. And what does it mean for churches to actually say, okay, we welcome that. And let's actually be a little more playful because we were created to play. Like, what does it mean to make more space for that in the congregations to actually, and when we do that, we open up space to have real conversation because you become a little more vulnerable, you become a little more open, and you're really able to kind of dig in with each other. You're able to play and see each other as human, divinely made and created, and to really share space together. And I think that's really what's going to help divide, because the church needs to be impacting what's happening in the academy, right? What's being written, what's being preached, what's been talked about, and vice versa. It needs to be coming to the academy. And for me, I feel like we usually do this, but I really would love, because it's really more this. Yeah. Right? Just because we're in the academy doesn't make us any better than anyone. It means that we've chosen this career because that's our calling. And there are those that have chosen that because that's their calling. And we need to be having conversations. Because if we're writing, who are we writing to? What communities are going to keep us grounded in the work that we're doing and making sure it's making meaningful, things? I'm a practical theologian. Everything needs to be practical to do, to actually live life by. Yeah. And play is part of what we do every day. And to try to deny that is just, I feel like it's just, it means you're lacking. And I feel like that's often what happens in the academy, where we're so much living here, we forget the rest of this. Yeah. And we'll be having a conversation. And I think that's what helps merge what's happening and helps it flow into the church. Sorry, I know I'm not sorry, because I'm going to play and I'm going to talk with my hands. So there you go. But that's really what happens. You need to have a conversation, be in dialogue with each other and informed by and learning from and playing with, because you can learn so much and play and do so much good. So I really think it just needs to be a better conversation. And that's really what's going to help start bridging, is play together. Let's go play together. Let's go do some double dutch. Let's go do some hopscotch. And in the process, you're going to learn about each other. You're going to learn about agency and your morals and your ethics. You learn so much about people by play. We just need to give each other space.
That is true. You make me want to go outside and play hopscotch right now.
If I could make sure I had this internet connection and be outside.
That would have been awesome. Like a little virtual block party interview type of vibe. I like that.
That would be dope. I think that would be dope and necessary. Just a little.
Yeah, my mind turning now. Okay. So you're dancing. Dance.
Can't help it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Question.
Yes.
Lakisha Lockhart's top 5 songs.
Oh, this is 5 songs. Oh my goodness. So okay, so seriously,
table talk. If you want to join us for table talk, we could save that for later.
Let's save that. I'll say that for table talk.
Save that one for later. Okay. We can save that one for table talk. So Sherika is backstage and she's going to join us. So Sherika, start thinking about your top 5 songs. So while we are here, let's talk about, I also want to talk about creating space and the importance of body, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's start with creating space. What does creating space look like right now, especially for Black women?
Yeah, I think it's, again, just with so much going on, I think it's creating space just to breathe. Just to just be our own, I love the way M. Sean Copeland calls it ontological space, like to be free, to be ourselves, to just, I would say just to be able to take your bra off, to just be able to kick it, to just, if we're just being real, like, we just need space to be able to be with each other, to be real, to have conversations where we can talk about how pissed we are about what's going on, where we can talk about how terrified I am for my son to grow up in this world, where we can talk about like all those conversations that I can't have with other people, or I'm choosing not to have because I'm protecting my energy, right? Or I'm choosing not to have because they don't deserve to have that in my life, right? And so we have to be able to start creating that space, right? Like one space that's being created is we have, you actually had her on your show, Ebony Marshall Turman, it created like a little Black women's writing group. So we have where we go and write together, once a week right now. And so because I need to remember to write, because it's also hard to write right now, just given everything that's happening. Yeah. How do we encourage each other and uplift each other? And how do we, how are we there for each other? I'm in another group with, some other Black moms, right? Because that's also real. As a Black mother who's also an academic, who also is trying to write and teach at the same time and be at home. My spouse works. A lot of things that we're having to do and do. So just creating space that is sacred, that is loving, which means not always listening to the news, which means surrounding myself with people that I know love and care and support me, and not people that I have to constantly defend myself or my stance or anything like that. It also means for me, as an educator, surrounding myself with, like, right now, I'm loving having conversations with my students. Like, I'm loving, when we have our online classes, and I'm, making space for them to be able to vent, to lament together, to talk about, well, what actions can we take? And also how can we practice self-care? So I think about creating those spaces where we allow ourselves to have days where it's like, today is just not the day, and I'm okay. I'm gonna start again tomorrow, and that'll be okay, and not being too hard on myself. So I think it's just about creating those spaces, right? I've really been intentional too about getting up earlier than everyone in my house, which often means I'm getting up at like 4:30, 5. I know that's real early, but for me, it's like to be able to just have quiet in the house, drink a cup of coffee, to center, to do devotion, to stretch, to play, has been so helpful in creating space. Right? Whether you want to light a candle, whatever that is, looking out the window. I mean, just finding out where you can get that space to just be has been amazing. So yeah.
No, that's cool. So while you were talking, I remembered I have been intentional about two things. One, finding God in my everyday life. And two, being intentional about creating space in my space, right? So I named one of my plants Erin. So when I water her and I talk to her, I'm also watering myself and talking to myself and affirming myself. And she's growing like crazy.
Yes.
The plant and me, because like I'm really starting to enjoy my my new space, my new area, right? Like my incense. So I think creating space has been pivotal, right? In me growing, especially in these moments, being intentional about that. So, to the people who are watching, if you take nothing else away, please create space for yourself.
Create space and give yourself space to be, and be out the Play-Doh. Just see what you create. Put on some music. Just dance. Just like no one's watching, because no one is watching. Just do your thing, and just give yourself permission just to be right now, whatever it is that you're needing. You need to have a flash dance moment. You go for it. Just do right. Just let yourself be in this moment. And because I feel like there's so much that's kind of being put on us. Just be you.
Yeah.
You can't get that, whatever it is. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna order some Play-Doh now off of Amazon.
Do it. I mean, hey, let's see, Play-Doh, bust out the crayons, the markers. There's a practice called Lectio Divina, right? Where you pray, meditate, and then you create something. Well, I like to do a little plus at the end where you create something.
Yeah.
Right? Be creative. I mean, right now is a really beautiful time. Bust out the paints, and remember, it doesn't have to. I feel like right now is everyone's still worried about like, what are we producing? We have to produce during the pandemic and all of these, and I just don't want folks to get caught up in the fact that you are what you produce. You are so much more than that. We are all so much more than what we produce, right? We're more than enough. So sometimes it's not the outcome, which is also what I love about play. It's not always what I end up with at the end. It's the process. The intentionality of giving myself and my body the space and time to do what it feels like it needs right now. And that is equally powerful than whatever may come at the end. It's that process and intentionality that is really beautiful, and that I think we need more of.
Wow, that's beautiful. So what are some like practical tips and tools for people who like the end process, right? Who do everything for, at the end, I'm going to see results.
Yeah.
Right. I'm definitely not one of those people.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes we are, right? So, because we do want to have like goals, right?
Yeah.
But what would it mean to say, okay, if you just need a goal, like, okay, say, hey, I'm going to cook a dish. Okay, there's your goal. You're going to make a dish. But what would you do if you put on a little bit of music, or maybe you got a friend and you guys just started sharing stories about eating this dish before, or about cooking it? Like, what's the history of this dish? Who even created it? Where'd the recipe come from? How many times have you eaten it? What would it mean just to share a meal, or to think about memories, or to put on some music and just dance, right? So even though you might have the end goal, like, the process can be whatever you make it, right? How do you bring that playful spirit and attitude to everything you're doing, right? And then I guarantee you, it might actually take you to a different end result than what you thought you were going to have it to begin with, right? So what does it mean to just let yourself be involved in that process and be intentional? I think could be really beautiful. So, I mean, I get you need end goals, but there's a beautiful thing that happens when you're open, to what can happen to.
I like that. I like that. Make sure we're looking at the roses in the garden, not just looking for the exit sign.
Hey, that's a good one. I like that.
Right?
Exactly.
So,
Shireen,
hey, Shireen. Okay, so, where were we? So what's next? Using our bodies.
Yes.
I think, but that's playing and just being and just existing. Yeah. So give us some of your work, right? Who is Dr. Lockhart?
So for me, I talk a lot about play. Again, I'm working on some things, but I teach Zumba. And so for me, I see Zumba as a practice of freedom for me, of dance, of movement, of letting my body be a body that so often is objectified, that is, over sexualized in ways that it shouldn't be, a body that has birthed a child, and realizing all that comes with that. And so it's this beautiful space where I'm reclaiming me, right? It's like you're taking your body. So I'm gonna, if I feel like literally just stopping and then busting a move in the dance floor, I'm going to do it, right? Like every floor is my dance floor, no matter where I am. And so it's this beautiful way of seeing my body as divinely made. And I think that's really important. I feel like, there was a space where I'm like, growing up, deny the flesh. And I'm like, no, my body was also created, not just my soul and my spirit, but also my body. This body that I have is also part of what makes me wonderful and amazing. And so why wouldn't I appreciate it? Why wouldn't I love it? Why wouldn't I, dance? Why wouldn't I appreciate it? Why wouldn't I care for my skin? Why wouldn't I make sure I drink my water to keep my whole body hydrated?
Yes.
Why wouldn't I, think about, hey, what do I want to put on it today? Today I'm feeling a little blue today. Let's put on some blue. Like, why wouldn't I think about all of those things? Like, because all of those things are part of, for me, what matter with body, with what I'm encompassing, making sure I'm going out for walks, making sure I'm doing all of that. And, soaking my feet right now, because let's be honest, I'm not going to get my feet done right now, but they're looking a little rough. So I need to care for some things in different ways right now. But I think our bodies are these beautiful things. And it's not just about what we take into our bodies. Because again, with everything happening, we take so much in, just internally, right? The trauma and everything happening, just trying to survive and live in this world, not even thrive, just literally just trying to make it.
Yeah.
Taking in so much. And then it's like also like what's put on our bodies that other people try to put on us. There's not a room that I can ever walk in where I'm not a Black woman with curly hair. I mean, unless I choose to straighten, but either way, I'm still going to be a Black woman, right? That will never change. And that means no matter what room I walk into, you will still see that. Mm-hmm. And I will still have to take on that glance, that gaze, that glare, and that weighs on us. And so it's how do you take that part back? And I feel like that's about being empowered in your body and not seeing it as something that needs to be denied, but as something that is wonderfully, beautifully made and should be enjoyed. And, that includes pleasure and desire and all of these things and intimacy and all of that. It's all part of it. And how do you just enjoy the fullness that is you? Because guess what? You only have one life.
Yeah.
One body.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. It's amazing. And I mean, we see so many people are also using it as, I love to say using it as a side of theological reflection, right? Realizing where you can reflect on yourself and see the divine, right? I see the divine in my curls every day because I'm like, that curl is popping today. Or just different things about how I'm drinking this water and I feel like my skin looks really great right now. Or just, you name it, but I'm just thinking, man, the creator was amazing to create me. So we just have to kind of pump ourselves up, pump each other up, right? Like realizing that our bodies are a part of this process in whatever shape form they're in right now. And if we're not happy with where they are health-wise, guess what? We can do things. We can work on that. But either way, just knowing that we're still a gift, knowing that our bodies are gifts, that's the place to start. And so for me, that means doing things for our body, right? And we see that happening a lot right now. So yeah.
I like that. So Self-Care Sunday is a form of resistance.
It is. Issa and Molly they were onto something. I don't want to talk about what happened at the end. I don't want to give any spoilers, but let's just say they all could have used a little more self-care Sunday. Maybe some self-care with the therapist Sundays. But therapy is also a form of self-care, caring for your body, your mind, your intellect. But self-care Sundays, saying guess what? I'm not going to check my email today is an act of self-care. Saying that I'm not going to get on Facebook is an act of self-care. Saying that I'm going to sleep in, I'm not even going to set my alarm, acts of self-care. I mean, even those little acts, like I'm literally just going to sit around all day and not even wear a bra. Act of self-care. I mean, right? Just whatever it is. There are all of these little things that are just beautiful acts. But I mean, especially right now, I would say self-care Sunday. My spouse and I do this thing where we make time to play. We call them play dates. Play things, and we'll do puzzles. We do card games, which I always beat him on, but we won't talk about that right now. My competitive side will remain hidden. But hopefully he's not watching, because then he'd be like, I won once. But anyway. But no, we do puzzles, we do games, we cook together. We,
comments from him yet, so we're good. We're good.
Have a little sip, of some things that are delicious. We cook together. I mean, even just the beauty of like making something, eating something, sharing things. I mean, there's so much that we can be doing, and inviting play and body and just pushing back, because I feel like in the world right now that wants us to be deflated and defeated. I feel like living out loud, living happily, living that life is also an act of resistance, right? That's also part of it. And I think that's really important right now. And just making space for that.
I loved chit-chatting with you, and I loved this conversation.
Me too.
So I am ready to take it to the table. So tonight's table is the segment in the show, which I love so very much. It is where we come together at our table and we talk. The dinner table has oftentimes been a place of gathering and healing and revelation. God shows up there. Everybody's invited to the table, especially if you're at grandma's house. So in Womanist Midrash, we read that the table is where we are invited to live our womanist interpretations out loud. Right? So, welcome to tonight's table.
Hey,
Sherika. Welcome to tonight's table.
Hello. Thank you. What's for dinner?
What's for dinner? Okay, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? I don't know. Probably a salad with some roasted veggies on top.
That sounds delightful.
Okay.
What about y'all? What do you have for dinner?
Actually, salad. Actually, same.
Salad?
Some eggs in there, a little bit of chicken.
And
hello? Wait, one more time.
Shrimp and steak fajitas.
Okay, shrimp and steak fajitas.
Okay, shrimp and steak fajitas. That sounds good.
Salad in there.
So, at tonight's table, I want to continue this playful talk because I'm really loving this. I really feel like these are practical tips and tools that people can take away. And that's what the show really aims to do. Not only give us the permission to live out loud and bridging that gap between church and academy. And I feel like these are the conversations that are kind of necessary to bridge that gap. So, top 5 favorite songs. I'll start. Right now, Good as Hell by Lizzo.
Yes, I'm a second that.
That's my jam. Let's see. It's an Esperanza Spalding song, but I cannot remember the name of it. But it's on my Spotify playlist, and I go to it like all the time. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm really liking Summer Walker right now. Summer Walker is really cool. Let me find my Esperanza. Precious by Esperanza Spalding. Y'all should look that up. That's a good one. Precious by Esperanza Spalding. And then I'd have to say I'm going to put in one of my gospel favorites right now. 2. I'm going to give you 2 of them. Something Has to Break. And I Shall Wear a Crown. But I like I Shall Wear a Crown when Amanda sings it. Because that thing just be taking me out of here every time she sings it. So that's my current top. I think I gave 6.
Okay. That's good. I second Lizzo.
Okay.
I gotta throw in Janelle Monáe, either Make Me Feel Yeah, I'll go with Make Me Feel. I also like Django Jane. No, I ain't gonna lie. Whitney Houston, Dance with Somebody. I feel like classic. My gospel jam is Waymaker. That one, yeah, that one gets you right. And you know, every now and then you just need a little Bodak Yellow in your life.
Auntie Cardi, yeah, this is true. True.
Yeah. Is that enough? Is that enough? I don't know how many that is.
I think you gave us 4.
Okay. Then I'll probably throw in a little Beyonce Formation, as well as probably throw in some he did the song with Cardi, Finesse. I can't think. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Yeah, Bruno. Pretty much almost anything by Bruno. I'm also a big Bruno fan. So there we go.
Happy vibes. Like when his music comes on, it makes me want to.
Exactly. It's like, it's just okay, Bruno. I see you.
Yeah. Your turn, Sherika.
Okay, so I don't really listen to a lot of music. Quite different, but my absolute favorite of all time is Deja Vu with Beyonce and Jay-Z on the Homecoming album, because it just gets me pumped. Pretty much all the songs, but it also gives me that feel of being back in undergrad at North Carolina A&T State University. But it just gives me the HBCU feel, and so absolutely love that. When Biker Shuffle comes on, I'm ready to jam. I like to move. Family Reunion by the OJs, like that just makes me feel like it's time to throw something on the grill and get going. But when I have to go to my all-time favorite, for my gospel, I love some Jesus Is Real by John P. Key. And I Just Want You by Travis Green. Those are things that just bring me back in. So those are some of my favorite, but not all.
That was a good playlist. We got a good playlist going.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
We can see you. Let's see. Where the Black Seminary, Vanderbilt, Boston College. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So I also wanted to talk about what are we doing personally to stay sane, right? So I have been having these little mini personal retreats and like just chilling and having me wind down Wednesdays on Mondays or Tuesdays or any day that I feel like I need a wind down Wednesday. And I've been having girlfriend time and watching movies and eating the snacks. And I've found that working out helps me out a lot right now to keep my mind sane and together. Dr. Lockhart, you told us a few things earlier in the interview.
Yeah, playing with my son most days in the morning, who's amazing, like a little over 1, so he's just amazing and playful and wonderful. Taking walks, dance breaks, working out, cooking, hydrating my soul. Literally, I try to drink like at least 3 of these a day. That is also self-care right now. But letting myself sleep in when I need to sleep in, not showing up on Zoom calls and just having my picture appear whenever I just don't feel like you need to see me. Yeah, that's and again, play dates with my spouse have been really good, like puzzles and games and
that's so sweet.
Watching rubbish on TV. I mean, I wouldn't call it rubbish because I think it's amazing, but like, I'm sorry, Queer Eye will get your whole life together and have you crying and in tears.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to watch that because I have been trying to find something new since I binge watched Insecure. I binge watched all 4 seasons in like 4 days.
I mean, it's easy to do. Yes. So I love Insecure. I watch that as well. But yes, the Queer Eye, I feel like it's a ministry all in itself. Oh my goodness. I mean, what they're doing is the work of the divine. I believe it's amazing. Just you'll see. Okay.
All right. So that's my new show. Okay, cool. Sherika. Oh, can you hear us? I think she's having a few.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, cool. So what are you doing right now to just care for you?
Do you still have feedback?
No, we're good.
Okay. For me, I think I'm doing a little of what you both spoke of. Just relaxing. I am being very intentional about not filling up my time with things because I'm so used to going and being active and having a schedule that is so compact that I don't remember to eat lunch or eat dinner at times.
Mm.
And so for me, it's like teaching myself to actually be okay with having downtime and, training my brain to not feel like I'm slacking or not being productive because I don't have anything that I'm doing. So I'm actually having to like train myself to rest. And I'm being very intentional about that. So I'm reading a little bit outside of classes. I'm reading things of interest just to spark that passion again. I'm exercising and writing a lot more. And I'm finding that I am very productive over in the night. I'm up from like to about 5 or 6 in the morning doing different things because everything around me is quiet. And I'm able to focus, and my sleep schedule is just off too because I work for the school system. So I get up and go to sleep whenever I feel like I need to rest.
Okay, creating space.
Yes.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Definitely learning to take care of my body. I forgot about that. Taking care of my body, like learning that that's an important piece. Learning how to treat myself and how to meet the needs that I don't often pay attention to because of how busy I am. So that's different too. Getting into some different things, changing my eating habits. I feel better, less headaches and things like that. So like she was saying, Dr. Lockhart was saying, like to drinking enough water, making sure that I'm taking care of my skin, and I'm getting older, so I'm trying to make sure this face stays the way it is now. So
yes, because you deserve it too.
yes.
Like just take care of yourself because you deserve it.
Yes.
I've been working so hard in these streets. Yes.
Out in these Jesus streets. So, before we leave from tonight's table, I want to talk about the gospel according to Grandma. So this was coined last show when we were talking about Dr. Howard's book. I have it over there. Black Sacred Rhetoric. And we were talking about, I just thought about like, that's grandma's gospel, right? A lot of it is not biblical at all, but it's the stuff that was used to get them over, stuff that's used a lot of times at the dinner table. And like I mentioned to Dr. Howard, his work, I think, is also that literally bridged part of that gap, right? Because literally church talk put into commentary form. So I've added the gospel according to Grandma. So right now, each of us, what is something that Grandma would say to us right now that we would like just meet God in that moment, right? Like, sometimes when Grandma's talking to you, you like, that's God talking. Like God is talking to me through my grandmother right now. So I'll start. I think that my grandmothers right now, well, my nana, my dad's mom, would ask me if I've been watching Dr. Oz or The Doctors. Those were her shows. And no matter what was going on in the world, she was going to ask, have you watched Dr. Oz or The Doctors? Even though she knows that you don't watch those shows. Like, no, I never watched that. But Grandma would ask me that. Nana would ask me that. And in looking back in that question now, I could see how I could have met God there if I were intentionally looking, because that could have been, right, an act of resistance. I could have turned off the news for a moment to watch the doctors or Dr. Oz. And in turn, I probably would have gotten something to take care of myself as opposed to just continuing to pile on the stressors of what's going on around me. Now, my grandmother, wow, what would my grandma say to me right now? My grandmother, my Dominican grandmother, in her very heavy accent. She was here since she was 18 and she passed away. I don't remember how old she was, but she was older and she never got rid of that accent. So in her very strong Dominican accent, what would grandma say to me right now? Honestly, she would probably ask me to go make her some string beans and not to put salt in it because she had high blood pressure, but also, I guess she forgot that we all knew that. So, like, we knew not to put salt in her food, but that's cool too, right? Like, and she would say, baby, can you make grandma some string beans with no salt, baby? Right? We knew exactly what grandma was asking us to do. And I think if I were to meet God there, that would probably be another reminder to take care of myself and another reminder to just be and be my full healthy self, right?
Yeah. That's good. I'm trying to think what my grandma. So my grandma on my dad's side would do. She always just send me pictures of the baby. Not like electronic pictures, not like, email or on the phone. No, she wants hard copy, like in the mail. And I miss her. I mean, they're both my grandmothers are no longer living. Rest their souls. But I think about that because I'm thinking right now, just in this time, it's probably a really good time to connect, right? I used to love writing letters. And so I'm thinking that's probably a really good moment to like just be connecting in different ways. Right, realizing that we can connect in different ways. Now, there's nothing wrong with putting a little stamp on a letter, writing something out, sending it. And my other grandma on my mother's side, she would probably tell me to go get her red nail polish and her red lipstick so she could put it on and go ahead and paint them nails because she loved, and it had to be that bright red. It's the only one she would wear. Bright red fingernail polish and bright red lipstick because she has somewhere to be.
Okay,
and so I just think, again, just thinking about self-care, like, guess what? We can do our nails, put on a little lipstick, especially right now, because, when you're sitting at home, you don't always want to get dressed. Like, you don't always want to, but some days just do it for you. Just do it for you. Good reminders. Thank y'all, grandmas. I thank y'all. Those are good reminders right now.
Yep. I don't know if Sherika.
Do you see me?
We could see you. Yeah. There you go.
Can you hear me? Sorry, I don't know what's going on. But my grandmother, my great grandmother is still living and she's 93. And I thought that was interesting because she had then told me the story of working in white households and not getting an education. So that's one thing she often tells me that she out. Asked her how she was about what was going on now. And she said to me that George Floyd was a second Jesus for her. I asked her, what did she mean by that? And she says, well, Jesus died for us so that we all might have life. And this young man lost his life, but look, life is given in the rise that is. And so to hear that come from her, I was expecting to see a little more lamenting because for her to see things go back in, but for her it was a time of rejoicing because she looked at a life being lost was once for us to gain, to build upon the future. And so, for me, it was just to hear that from her at 93 years old to say, I want this world. The world is going to be here and it needs to be left in a predicament where you guys will still be able to be prosperous. So, just, being able to still have her to say those things is just a blessing at this point, but it gave perspective.
Okay. That was good. That was good. I enjoyed talking with you both. I had so much fun in our interview, and I had so much fun at tonight's table. So, this is the part of the show where I say good night to my guests. Good night, Dr. Lockhart. And good night,
Thank you.
Sherika.
Thanks for having me. Go play.
Yes. All right, everyone. It's been a pleasure, and I'm so happy that you've allowed me into your homes once again. It's your girl, Erin Sade, and this is the Black Girls Theology Talk Show Live. Actually, right after this, head on over to Kelly's Facebook, or I'll share it. She's having an event about love. It is going to be a panel discussion about love. I'm super excited about that. Support a Black-owned business. Tomorrow's Juneteenth. We get out and celebrate our Independence Day, or the day that we found out that we were free. But that's a whole nother lesson in and of itself. I love y'all so much. Stay blessed.